better than that day. It's been good. It was a good camp, real good camp. Feel like we got better. We're developing a lot of young guys to complement the guys that we have returning, and I've been pleased with the progress that we've made since then, and looking forward to kind of a developing of our identity on defense, and that'll take place, throughout the course of the year. But just anxious to get a chance to play, someone else and see what our guys can do, and watch all their hard work, be rewarded.
What are some things you've seen on film from Penn State? I know they like to run their quarterback a lot, but you should be used to that for one season.
Well, they're very multiple with what they do. They've got speedy receivers on the outside, and use them a variety of ways, the jet sweeps, and attack you vertically, and then they've got a good running back, a couple good running backs. Number 11 was a young player, just a freshman a year ago. Excellent player, good speed, toughness, physical. And then the quarterback can really fly. Tough guy, very physical, excellent quickness and speed. And, they're very multiple with what they do. So a little bit kind of like Pitt in a lot of their formations and motions and things of that nature. So, we're going to really need to come out and be incredibly disciplined and focused, aligning the right way, eye discipline, gap integrity, setting the edge, to the defense. And so it's a good challenge for us out the gate, just in regards to as much mental as it is anything.
Two questions about the corner rotation. One, I saw that Ryan Carter starting both at number 1 and nickel. So if it's a nickel situation, he's starting outside of Simpson and nickel, or somebody outside, Carter and nickel, or is that
We're going to go with 10. And then when we feel like they're going to throw it to the slot, we're going to put him at nickel. If we throw it out wide, we'll put him out there. No. We're going to rotate our guys. We feel like we've got good depth there. And at certain times, Ryan will play nickel. And when he's not playing corner, sometimes he might be on the bench, when we're rotating. So it's been a great competition with those guys. And I think when it's all said and done, I think that we may not know who the bona fide starters per se are, for 4 or 5 weeks from now. That could change from what the depth chart says today.
And then the second question, is there any difference between boundary and field? Like there's some guys playing boundary and some guys playing field, or you just don't play everybody in?
Well, we play a lot of left and right as well, and but you like those guys to be the same guy. Some guys are just better cover guys, not as physical. Some guys are more physical and think and react, and instincts allow them to play really fast. Things happen a little quicker into that boundary. So you really want a blend of all of it. Great cover skills, tough physical, can play zone, can play man, can tackle well, can blitz well. You really want that from both positions.
Are you happy with where Marcus Edmond is? I know he was banged up some.
Yeah, he missed probably 10, 12, 13 days, so I'm not sure where he is, as far as health. But he'll be cleared to go. But I think he had a groin issue, and those are always, a vertical route away from re-aggravating. So hopefully he'll get back to full speed and stay healthy.
Coach, when you said Amir Trapp was one of the biggest surprises of camp, was that the same for you as well?
I think he's, he had a great camp. He's got good instincts, excellent feet, transitional speed and movement, and he plays tough and big and not afraid to tackle, and makes a lot of plays on the ball. So he did real well this, in fall camp, and hopefully he continues to progress, and if he just adds a little bit of size to himself, he could end up being a really good player.
You talked about kind of anxious to see this year's team's identity.
Mm-hmm.
When you start seeing a team's identity really take the form throughout the season?
I think through both success and failure, both, and now it's just hard to quantify it, particularly with the players. We got a bad scrimmage, and they're like, yeah, I think, the right ones are invested the right way, but they're like, well, this wasn't a real game, and there's a lot of truth to that. So, you know, when there are stakes, you know, I think you develop that through just experiencing the season, you know, the highs and the lows and everything in between and the grind, things of that nature. So right now it's just all talk, you know, and but that's developed, and we try to foster that growth and development, but ultimately it's them. They have to go and compete and respond and put the work in.
Do you expect Xavier Kelly and Shaq Smith to play on Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. Yeah. Shaq wasn't listed. You know, he missed, wasn't a week, he missed 2 weeks of 3.5 week camp. So he was doing very well, and but you got to earn your way back. You know, unless you've already solidified yourself as a bona fide starter, you know, dude. And like if Kendall Joseph misses 4 days of practice and he gets back healthy, you know, he's earned his position. Now, if he comes back and you know, he's terrible, you know, then you'll reevaluate that. But Shaq's coming. He had a great camp, and I was really pleased with where he was. And then he got a high ankle sprain, and you know, as long as Shaq is healthy this Saturday, and we'll see if he is.
Are you familiar with this defense has been in the past few years and how well they performed? You've seen some really strong confidence going into the season, especially coming off of the year that you guys had.
Well, I definitely sense a confidence, but you know, I sense a confidence from those guys a year ago. You know, sometimes you know, you hardly have anybody coming back that's a previous starter, and you do well. You do a lot better than people think, and sometimes you get a bunch of starters back, and for whatever reason the chemistry isn't right, the commitment isn't there. Maybe you have some injuries, and you know, you don't meet your expectations. Sometimes you exceed them. So, like I said, every year is just different, and ultimately it's the people, it's the leadership, having some good luck, staying healthy, it's your matchups, you know, and then you got to always have some guys coming along, you know. A couple of years ago, it were guys like Kevin Dodd and Cordray Tankersley, in particular, that really, and B.J. Goodson, they kind of came out of nowhere. They were, you know, older guys that, you know, you knew that if it all came together, that, you know, you could have a really good unit. But those were huge question marks, and you know, development at D tackle with some guys that haven't played as much, and then what happens at defensive end, and then again, our leadership and toughness at linebacker, how Trey Lamar plays this year, and then we have, you know, some bunch of new guys in the secondary as well. So, you know, it's exciting though, because it is a group of guys that put in the work. There's some really good, strong talent, you know, at all three levels, and you know, at the end of the day, you got to be able to complement each other in all three phases of the game to perform well.
Speaking of defensive end, how are you as a coach going to adjust to your depth, being young but talented, especially with the loss of year getting experience?
How will we adapt?
How will you adapt?
You know, you have to be very conscious of, you know, your rotation, and giving those guys as much as you can without disrupting the flow of your defense. And a guy like Christian's going to have to play a little more defensive end as well as D tackle. So, but those, you know, the more reps they get, the better they'll get, and they'll have to have, again, some failure along the way. But just trying to manage that the right way without playing, you know, Cleveland and Austin Bryant every snap. You know, they can't survive a season doing that.
How comfortable do you think he is with the linebacker?
I think very comfortable. You know, it's a natural position for him. He's got great instincts, runs really well, and he's had an excellent first year on campus. Got a little bit of playing experience last year. That's always going to help him. And you know, his confidence and his comfort level, or he's on two different planets from where he was a year ago at this time. So you would expect that, you know, being a true freshman last year. But I've been really pleased with his progress.
Cleveland talked to us yesterday about the number one unit you had in 24-14, and how that's kind of the standard heavy do you think that is for them to try to meet or exceed what that unit was able to do?
Well, I mean, they hear about it a lot, and because we throw it in their face, and but it's because that's all of our teach tapes. We got a lot of teach tape where we're looking at them, and they were just relentless. Yeah, that's what I love. That group you couldn't satisfy them enough. They wanted more reps, they wanted more meeting time, they wanted more weight room time. I mean, that group was special, man. They all had a chip on their shoulder. Leadership was just unbelievable, unbelievable. And because it was just so many of them. Now, that was a senior-laden defense, too. And so you're always hopeful that you're going to get that, when you have a senior-laden team. But they took it to new levels. And what's remarkable, too, is one of those years, unique years where your offense and defense really didn't complement each other throughout the year. But as a team, we just all kind of got better throughout the year. And so it was one of those really fulfilling years as a coach where you see just the commitment at an all-time high. Yeah, you didn't win every game, but your players stayed engaged from beginning to end. You got better as a team from the beginning of the year to the end. And it was a great journey, but and then the legacy that those guys have now is pretty special. And so I know our guys respect that unit and those players, for all the things that you would want to be respected for, just all the intangibles. But we remind them, a lot about that's what, because again, I don't have my head in the sand. I know what is talked about out there, and I'm just a firm believer. You got to go do it. You got to earn it, and you don't just do it or earn it, in one game or one play. It's a whole season's worth, and we always talk about the best players, the ones that are most consistent. Well, that's the same thing with your unit, and guys know how to show up day in and day out, and are able to sustain that through the course of a season. And that's what makes it really hard to be a good player, a good unit, a good defense, a good offense, a good team. It's because it's a long, hard season, and sustaining success and fighting through the adversity that's going to happen is not easy to do. And but when you have the character and the toughness and the sense of purpose to you with talent, you have a chance to do something pretty special.
Do you notice any similarities in the two defenses?
It's hard to compare right now.
Going into the season?
It's hard to compare. You got there's some things that are similar and some things that aren't, but it's hard to compare right now.
Going back to your parents, how are you seeing AJ Terrell really acclimate to a talented group?
Yeah, AJ's very focused. He's mature. If you go into our meeting rooms, in the back seven, we're all meeting, and he's gonna kind of sit by himself, and he's gonna burn a hole looking through you, paying attention. There's nothing casual about AJ, and so he's very coachable, smart, instinctive. He's got a good sense of physicality, particularly for a young player. A lot of times that's one of the last things to come, and but because of his confidence and the way he's been coached systematically, and he's been exposed to a variety of schemes and coverages, he understands his strength, and but he's got a great sense of humility about him as well. But he's not Deion Sanders yet. Okay, I don't want to build him up to, but he is. But he has a maturity about him that's allowed him to kind of fight through fall camp, fight through the newness of everything, and position himself to where we say, what, we got to play him where we could win without him. But I think he makes us better, and because of all those things. And I think the more that guy plays, the better he'll be. And he could do a lot of things. We have him just playing just corner right now to get him comfortable there. But he's been what we hoped he would be.
The same vein on another guy back there, Tanner Muse. What's his progression been like, and what did he kind of do to separate himself to get in that role?
Yeah, his confidence is a lot different. His preparation, just his understanding of the defense, you know, he tried to work hard at it a year ago, but, you know, sometimes it just doesn't come right away, and for most it doesn't. And but he worked really hard in the out of season, studying tape, getting more and more familiar with the language, and learning how to play fast, and you know, being able to diagnose an offensive formation or a motion adjustment just faster. So he's able to. The game has kind of slowed down for him so that he could play faster, and I think that's a maturation with his understanding mentally of the game. And then he's worked hard, you know, physically as well to improve in areas that he needed to, and his teammates got a lot of respect for him, and so it's really all of those things. But he's physical, and he's got terrific top end speed, and he cares. He's very passionate about the game and his role, but he really cares. So as a result, he lets you coach him hard. He takes responsibility when things aren't right, and he goes to work, you know, trying to correct, you know, mistakes and what have you. So when you have accountability in your program and you got players that really care about what you think, what their teammates think, and about their role, you know, you'll have success. And that's a guy that, you know, is living proof of that.
Your coverage unit on special teams was a real strength last year. Do you think they can be just as good this season?
I believe so. And you know, we have a lot of those same guys back, and I think we've added a few more guys. And some of those guys that we played last year were just true freshmen, and usually true freshmen aren't ready for that, you know, here and there, but they're always going to blow, you know, a gasket or two. And so I expect those guys to be, you know, improved from where we were a year ago. And so you'd like to think that.
Anything else?